Conceptual art, timeless masterpieces, or disposable commodities? Imagine this. 1,000 years from now, future archaeologists dig through the ruins of an early 21st century art gallery. Inside a shattered display case, they find a tin can of supposedly preserved excrement with an artist's signature, a few white plastic squares, a rotten banana taped to a wall, and an empty glass capsule. Will these objects command the same reverence as the Venus de Milo or the Mona Lisa? Or will they be met with bewilderment and laughter, ultimately relegated to a museum of strange oddities of modern man? This is no mere joke. It lies at the heart of a fierce debate within contemporary culture. Can conceptual art, especially its ironic and critical strain, withstand the test of time, or is it doomed to end up in history's trash bin? To answer, we must walk through two opposing narratives. Narrative 1, it all happens in the mind, and the mind eventually dies. A group of traditional critics, and even many ordinary art lovers, take a pessimistic view of conceptual art's future. Their reasoning is simple, though unsettling. First, the material decays. An oil painting on canvas, if properly cared for, can last centuries. But a tin can filled with plaster, a fire alarm arbitrarily triggered by an artist, a video piece on VHS tape. These objects have a shorter lifespan than a pair of sneakers. For them to survive, they must be copied, reconstructed, or turned into digital files. But isn't the authenticity of a conceptual work tied precisely to its uniqueness and physical presence? Second, understanding the work depends on extra knowledge. Remove the wall text or ignore the gallery guide, and many conceptual pieces become mute, silly objects. Damien Hirst's prostate, a hospital bed with medical paraphernalia, without the explanation that it alludes to Proust's In Search of Lost Time, is just a bloody bed. Now imagine 1,000 years from now, with none of that cultural context, philosophical references, or inside jokes remaining. What is left? An enigmatic object whose code no one can crack. Third, conceptual art is inherently anti-commodity, yet it becomes a commodity. Here lies the bitter irony. Works created to critique the market and consumerism now trade as some of the most expensive goods at auction. Manzoni sold his cans at the price of gold. Today, those same cans sell for the price of a luxury home. But this market success is not a sign of artistic permanence. It is proof of a product's ability to attract capital, and capital has no memory. When the bubble bursts or fashion shifts, those cans may return to the very rubbish bin their philosophy promised. Narrative 2. It is not about the object lasting, it is about the idea surviving. On the other side of the ring stand passionate defenders. Their argument is the reverse. Precisely because conceptual art is not tied to an object, it can become immortal. First, permanence through archives and reperformance. Boris Groys, the German theorist, argues that conceptual art is the art of documentation, not the art of the object. A cave painting may one day crumble, but the sketches, photographs, descriptions, and debates surrounding it can live forever in archives. The power of a conceptual work lies in its instruction, not in the scrap of fabric or metal mounted on a wall. Future generations can reenact Manzoni's piece just as we perform Shakespeare's plays. The bard himself is long gone, but his work is not. Second, permanence at the level of the question, not the answer. Arthur Danto, the late philosopher, believed that art history ended with conceptual art, but he did not mean the world ended. He meant the grand progressive narrative stopped. From then on, no single style is superior to another. The value of conceptual art lies in keeping a fundamental question alive forever. What is art? Each generation rephrases that question in its own language. In 1,000 years, people may not recognize Manzoni's can, but they will know that once upon a time, humans used wit to blur the sacred boundaries between art and commerce. That cultural memory will endure as long as civilization itself. Third, powerful institutions do the work of preservation. Museums, universities, and the market play this role. Here lies the real tightrope walk. Even if critics are right that conceptual art is ephemeral, MoMA, Tate Modern, and major galleries buy the works, archive them, publish catalogs, and teach them generation after generation in curricula. So, whether we believe in their intrinsic quality or not, these works are forced into immortality by the very institutions they set out to critique. Just as the church preserved the Gospels, the museum will preserve conceptual art. But who gets the final say? The truth is, we are living through a grand historical experiment. No one can predict whether, in the year 3024, a student will give a conference paper on semiotic analysis of Manzoni's cans. However, 3 points can be made. First, physical longevity and cultural longevity are two different things. Mesopotamian pottery lasted thousands of years because it was hard and inert. Shakespeare's sonnets lasted because they were recorded in collective memory, not because of the paper they were written on. Conceptual art aims for the second kind of endurance. Second, at least so far, the pessimist's predictions have not come true. The value of conceptual works has not declined. It has skyrocketed. That might be a bubble, or it might signal the establishment of a new classic. Only time, and perhaps a market crash, will tell. Third, conceptual art's greatest victory may be that it forces us to ask this very question. Before the 1960s, no one asked, can a can of fake excrement be immortal? Today, we are debating precisely that. This, in itself, is a kind of temporary immortality. Perhaps the final answer lies neither in auction catalogs nor in philosophers' pronouncements, but in what you are doing right now, reading, thinking, talking about it. As long as people speak about a work, it is not dead. And Manzoni's joke, at least for today, is still very much alive.